Just want to remind back again. The only thing that we are going to emphasize for this semester is to make sure that each one of you guys know how to draw in the right way. Not perfectly being done there, okay? But for those who can actually draw in perfect kind of styles and strokes, is a bonus for you guys. But if you can actually develop understanding from here, all right, to improve your skills from zero knowledge that you can draw using those tablets. That was a very huge achievement that you can actually proud of. Okay, proud of that. So that's why this is basically our mainly target. Okay, for our most of our exercise. But I'm not saying they're going to be a very smooth, great, easy, right, kind of journey. Okay, there will be a lot of challenges for each one of you guys. So, as I actually have show you guys some of the sample of learning experience that I can get from the students there, okay, I can actually show some of the improvements, very good kind of improvements there, right? But at the moment I can't actually go through each one of the drawings there, okay, but hopefully in week 7 when you do those kind of video presentations on your works, hopefully I can actually analyze some of the most of the challenges that some people have actually faced. Okay, hopefully they can improve from that. Alice is here.
Yes.
Amin, yeah.
Right here.
Jua,
Yes.
Chijian, Linkai,
Oh, yes.
Christian,
Yes, I'm here.
Desmond,
Yes, sir.
Wenjin,
Yes, sir.
Hujian. What happened there, Hujian? Is there any Hujan over there? Rain? No.
No, no.
Marisa? Marisa here, right? Gilson?
Yes, I'm here.
Gilson, do you get my message there, okay?
Yes.
Okay, hopefully you can improve from there, right? Okay, I'm going to take more closer look on your work there, right? Don't worry there, all right? Kachin,
Yes, sir.
Rachel,
Yes, sir.
Jeshi, Jesse is here, Boshuen,
Yes, sir.
all right, Oitong,
Yes, sir.
Wenjin, Chuying,
Sir.
Wenjin,
Yes, sir.
Yes.
all right, okay,
Did
yes.
you last week my attendance you never take?
Who is it? Marisa.
Min Kai.
Hmm?
Last week attendance.
Who is it? Minkai.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for updating me there, okay?
Oh, thank you.
Okay, welcome. Okay, now guys, okay, let's we actually go through back again. He's not here yet, right? Let me check it. Thank you also for your comment and also your response to our activities that we have been go through before there, okay? With the comment, okay, for the progresses, so that mean I know how effective the lessons is, right? Okay? When it comes to develop your understanding from now on there, okay? But I still can see a lot of SpongeBob around here. Okay, the things that we are going to go through later on, okay, for next week's, of course, they are going to be, what we call that? They're going to be about those character design there. Okay? So make sure when you design those characters later on, you get to start to draw basically from those, the right way to sketch out your ideas. Okay, now about light and shades. What do you know about light and shades there? Okay? I'm going to give you guys a really simple brief there. Okay, guys, switch on your webcam so I can see your face, and I'm going to choose. All right, from the reference that I have in front of me, we're going to work out with that kind of understanding there. All right. Too much highlight over here? No. Right. Right. Desmond. Right. Side profiles. Okay. But around these two demonstrations that I did, okay, I already choose guide that to draw my face and one of your friend's face. All right. I want you to have a look there, okay? Don't be shy there, okay, guys, okay, because it's a part of the training here. Okay, if I want to study about lighting and shadows, other than we actually working with the sample that we have, all right? Let me see there, right, okay? But still, right, these pictures is actually, right, they have the very suitable but not that clear there, okay, those images there. Those are the problem that we have there, okay? Not that clear enough there, okay? So choose the right kind of photos also. Really important there, okay? Just have a look there, okay? But no, it's not that clear there, okay? See the pictures there. Because I already show you guys also, okay, from the previous video, my kind of samples. I use my own face that works. All right, sorry, when zero, okay? You can't use your face there. Because I can see there's a very heavy light and shadows that separate between the faces there, the form basically, the surface there, okay? It's suitable for us to study there. I don't want to use a very high or low angles like this one there, right, okay, as a reference, right? This is we call the low angles there, okay? But you can see the direction of light came from the right side over here, see? All right, right side over here. So the shadows fall off basically to these directions, right? You see that? So study about light is basically a very natural kind of thing, right? Okay? If you can see like a Desmond kind of what we call that angles here, okay? The light came from the screen, or maybe he actually faced a window there, right? Okay? Is it right, Desmond? There's a window in front of you. So the light came from here. This is the base colors basically right here. This is the base colors there. You see that? These are going to be the car shadows that form basically the form from here, right? The shadow that form from here right there. And this is basically the highlight, the hot spots right here for the surface there. This is some of the hot spots that reflect the structures of the face there, right? Okay? But if you can see, okay, there is a backlight over here that we call the reflection light or shadows there, right? That form basically, because not entirely the shadows will fall off directly from here, and there is no light kind of effects that actually going to be what we call that form or construct basically the structures that entirely the structures that are going to be not entirely dark, okay? So normally when people actually try to study the light and shadows, they just turn over the whole thing into dark, okay, the shadows there. So there is no form, there is no what you call that dimension that they actually try to visualize when they actually study basically the structures packaging, right? Okay. How about this one there, right? Right. So you can see the shadows that came from here, right? Shadows came from bottom there, right? Okay. Why? Because the light came from top, right? The light came from the top there, right? Okay. So they're going to be reflect the whole areas of the faces become a shadows there, right? Okay. So this is how basically we study back here. But if I want to, all right, green screen these images as a reference, all right. Normally we are actually going to use our own face to do this exercise there. But of course, this is only a reference for us to use them first, okay, in order to develop our understanding there. So what we can do from here, make sure you choose the right kind of photos, first of all. The second thing is, all right, what you can do, basically the my screen there. Paste right here, do some selections, rectangle tools to do some selections here, there, okay. Copy and paste, right, delete the pictures that I don't want to use. Okay, normally, right, okay, I saw some people actually draw on the background, right, okay. Add new layers, guys. Okay, before that, we reduce the opacity, please. Make sure you adjust the color pictures, gradient map, and then you can actually start to draw them there. You can scale them up to make it more clear kind of views. But of course, from these pictures, it's very hard for us to develop basically our understanding there, right? Okay, especially okay when we want to study the whole basic structures there, right? But of course, this is only a sample there, okay. When I actually give you guys the sample later on for you to work, the pictures quite clear there, okay, that you guys can use them to work on that, right? All the pictures that I actually choose for you is quite clear there, right? You can see clearly how it works there, okay, to develop those understandings, right? So right now, before we're going to study them, okay, this is what we should do. I already show some people to work, okay, some of the groups to work with the circles to apply the shadows there. All right, let me check that. You double click, then put it aside here as a reference. This one I'm going to close that first. I'm going to bring back again the capacities back again. Right, how to study the shadows there. Of course, the best way to work with the shadows by using either oval or circle, right? Oval or circle. This is the best shape there, okay? Yes, you can use also square, right? To work with it. You can also use triangle there, right? Or what we call that rectangles that to works, all right? You can use also triangles there at the same time that to work, right? Triangle using lasso tools, like this, right? And click Control, right, to get the shapes, right? And then the next thing that you can do, for example here, you can use base colors like this. Base colors there. Oops, open it. Oops, it's not this one there. base colors there, right? Alternate backspace. So the next thing is, right now, if you take a look at the samples here, right, okay, the triangle that we have here, I'm going to use soft brushes at first. Soft round brushes. Study about light and shadows. I actually have done the circle or sphere kind of demonstration there. So right now, I'm going to use, okay, you can use also swatches that works, right? So what you can do, adjust with the size, adjust the flows, very minimize there, okay, and then if the directions of shadows are going to be decided, see, this is what happens there. These are going to be the light areas there, see? Yeah. But the way that I paint, not like this. My directions are put there, okay? My hands, not like this. But I'm circling around there, see? To show the dimensions there, okay? So the shadows, okay, because this is a flat triangle, okay, maybe a little bit more like a cone there, okay? What you can do, if I want to paint the shadows areas here, see? Adjust the size, this is how I'm going to paint that. See? Right. Adjust it a bit, this is how I'm going to paint it. Can you see the dimensions that you saw from this triangle there, okay? That show the reflections light, the highlight, and the hot spot of it, right? Okay? Simple as that. Of course, using triangles is not that easy, okay, especially if you use this kind of methods of working there. Alright, it's quite confusing sometimes. So what we can do from here, alright, if I'm going to duplicate the layer there, alright, I'm going to change the direction set. Control key, transform, rotate there. They become a logo there, right? So now, right, this is hexagon there, right? Maybe, right? Select them. If the directions of light came from top, back again, right? And of course, the shadows are going to be fall off over here. Okay. Yeah. This is basically the logic there. What if the shadows or the highlight came from this side? The right side there, right? The right side here. Okay? The right side there. So I'm control the pressures there, right? So the shadows are going to be fall off right here. See the way I paint it, right? Move the curve line there, right? To show basically the dimensions of the shapes. So they become a little bit more like a code there, right? Okay? Alright. So that's how it goes, okay? No outline, okay, for this exercise here. No outline for the exercise here, okay? Because I want you guys to study first the shadows and shapes. But any questions here at the moment? No? If the directions goes to this side, so we are going to change that. For example, like this. The directions of light, okay? All the directions of light will change. The shadows are going to be changed depending on the directions of the light, okay? Okay. That's how it goes. We not actually paint like this, right? We paint like this one, right? To show basically the dimensions of the form there, right? Okay, remember that. So how about the shadows there? So the shadows there are going to be fall off. Where is it? the shadows will fall off over here. See? Yeah. These are going to be the shadows there. If the light came over here, the top shadows that fall off with the absolute kind of shadows that will be right here. Right? So if you take a look at this kind of experiment there, okay, you can see basically the form of these triangles. They basically being what we call that stand on the floor there, right? Being formed by the floor, okay. So it's just like there is a light over here, there's a platform over here, right? Okay. The ground actually visualize or illusion of the shadows that actually apply, right? Okay, the ground itself. Okay. Easy, right? This exercise there. But the sample of drawings are going to be used this reference then. You have to use this reference that works there, right? Huh? Right, how are we going to work with it? Using lasso tools. You can use lasso tools that works. Let me show a bit. Right? How to use lasso tool. And you have to use also different layers that works. This one there, right? Using lasso tools, ellipse tools, shapes tools. Move a little bit here. And then use base color that works. Right? Use base colors that works. Add new layers at the same time. Using rectangle tools. Make sure the feathers are going to be 0%. Put it right here, that means. Right? And then what you can do, and you leave there, right? Adjust a little bit. The base color has to be different a bit. Right? And then what you can do, you can transform and rotate, rotate a little bit and move. Like that. Okay? It's okay if you actually cut a bit right here. But if you want to really cut it using lasso tools, that's okay. Control and delete. There you go. So this is one of the tricks that you guys can use. Okay. Alright, click the selections by using control, click to the layers, add new layers before you want to add some shadows there. Okay. How are going to create the shadows? See? Control the brush as well. And light came from over here, there, right? Yeah. See the dimensions there that I actually try to take. There's a backlight over here, right? There's solid kind of shadows that actually form the subject right here. See? Right. This one basically, right, okay, where the directions of light. Right. There's a few kind of directions of light over here, if you can see clearly, okay? So the different kind of shadows that can be applied. You can do just a bit right here. And there. Not too much there. Okay. That's the difference. Of course, okay, I'm using the background basically right, okay? Just now, just to show how actually it really works. I'm not able to use the different kind of photos there. So this one there, right, basically, the shadows here, see? Very clear there, right, you can see the shadows. Do some selections back again, click control, do some selections. This is the shadows areas, use highlight to paint them back. Okay. Study the light and shadows right here. Paint it well, study them well, okay? Any question from there? No? Okay, this one, how are we going to study then? Okay, when I actually paint these photos here, right, to study the shadows and shapes. Same styles of working. Brushes, you can use soft brushes, you can use any kind of watercolor brushes, but make sure you adjust the flow there. So how actually I'm going to paint, right? I'm going to use the flow, the structures of the faces. I'm not actually paint like this. Huh? A lot of people make mistakes. When they paint actually, right, the different kind of surface, they don't actually follow the basic form of the structure there. You see that? They don't actually follow them, okay? The directions there. Right? So one of the video that I record just now actually show also the directions of the flows there, right? Okay? When you want to paint people's face or any kind of surface there, okay? Follow the basic structures there. Don't follow your way of standard of painting, okay? You paint the whole thing like this. You paint the whole thing like this one. For what, okay? Follow the basic structure there. Okay? You're going to draw human face here, okay, using shadows. See? The way I move my hands here. This is the cheekbone, maybe there, right there. The nose. And then the other eyes there. And then the lips. We draw the shapes of the lips using the shadows. And you can see the pictures there. See? Human face. It's like a moon face from Mars there, right there. Or alien face from Mars there. Right? Those are the things that actually we need to develop and apply here. Right? Command or control, alternate Z there, okay, to adjust it. Back again, the shadows line there, okay. Basically, the shadows that we try to create is only what? Is basically supporting kind of elements that define the whole compositions, okay, for this reference. The hairline also the same, right? Don't color the whole thing in black, right? We don't see those colors in black, okay? We see the tone there, okay? The monochromatic kind of tones there. Okay, if I draw the shape, when I paint the hair, I'm using the right kind of movements there, okay? The right kind of stroke there to flow the hair. Alright? So this is the result that happens, alright? You can see the human feature. But the strong element that can appear from the shapes of shadows that you actually try to paint, it's all about your drawing line. Close than that, right? This is your drawing line. Here. Drawing first, then the file first. Okay. Okay, I know basically it's very quite challenging for you to work with this kind of pictures there. This is not for you, it's only for me. Okay? But I want to show you guys what basically the knowledge that brings to my demonstrations that can develop this kind of understanding there. When I draw the eyebrows, basically, right, I try to develop my understanding based on these pictures, even though it's not that clear there, right? But I try to get as close as I can. Yeah. Control basically the pressure as well. Okay? Remember one thing. I'm not trying to how actually I draw the nose here, okay? A lot of people draw the nose like this. Make mistakes there, okay? Draw the indication line only there, okay? The suggestions line for the nose. Start from this area there. Okay? This is the quickest way that I can show you guys how to draw nose. The lips, I'm going to draw the mouth first, okay? And then I'm going to draw the lips. And I'm not trying to draw her portrait, okay? You know why? because she don't pay me for drawing her portrait there, okay? I'm joking there. Of course, okay, if she actually wants me to draw her face, so I'm going to ask her to give me a very clear kind of pictures there. Never take any jobs if your client give this kind of low quality kind of pictures there. Because later on they will blame it us back again. Why? Because we don't actually draw exactly as what it seems they thought about their face, right? They think that actually we can actually have a right kind of what we call that magic tools there. They can x-ray the whole thing, they can actually scan the whole thing, right? Okay? But of course, if you can draw from this reference very clearly, right? Okay, perfectly been done, right? Okay? That means you're a genius there, right? But I'm not there. Okay? So, what I can say from this picture, okay? If I cannot see the okay, I'm going to assume the reference, okay, there, sample there. I'm going to assume that to draw her eyes, and then I'm going to draw her glasses there. Sample of the glasses there. This is a very sketch line kind of drawing there. It's not a very high quality kind of drawings, but this is suggestion there. I just want to show you guys what are the strong kind of elements that can play with this kind of drawings. It's all based from your shades and shadows and basically your studies of those strokes and lines together there, okay? And of course, the studies are not going to be end up into this stage there. So what basically you can approach with your studies here. You can go back into your soft brushes, back again. It's just basically the flows, right? 3%, 4%, depending on your kind of, what we call that, your kind of comfortable kind of zone there, okay, or styles that you use. So what I can do, okay, a lot of people always afraid to draw the shadows there. Why? Because they thought that when you want to draw something, right, they have to be a lot perfect, okay? Come on, guys. To study something, you have to be brave. You have to be good at what you do. You have to be brave to overcome your fears here. A lot of people doesn't like to draw the shadows. Why? Because they thought that everything, when you draw something, when you visualize something, it has to be look like a photos there all the times. Of course, we saw a lot of people, and some of the people, right, most of the artists can draw exactly as what you see. But this is not basically assignments. This is a study there, right? Okay, this is basically your weekly exercise, okay? Even though the exercise has to be done in very perfect manner kind of way, right, techniques, but it doesn't have to be accurate all the time there, right? Give yourself a room to develop an understanding, to study the shadows and shades there, okay? Because from that study there, you will understand how to organize and learn to develop your kind of skills there, especially to develop your design sense there. Okay? Never overestimate yourself that you think that you want to draw the portrait of your subject. So I don't want to draw her portrait there. It's a such waste of time. I just want to study the whole basic structures and shadows and shapes there, okay? Because these kind of lessons will bring into your studies when you come to design your own characters. How actually you're going to define the shadows there? We are not drawing ghosts. A lot of layman kind of thinking. You draw a ghost or whatever SHIP that you have in mind there, okay? Not. I'm studying the shadows and shapes here. Just now we draw using those basic shapes there, right? Now you study the faces back here. But The only thing make this illusion of shadows and drawings looks perfectly been done is by understanding the directions of shadows better. See how detailed basically the shadow I try to perform, but there's also has a dimensions. They also have the form. They also have the distance, depth of fields, and value of tone that apply from this reference there. The drawing itself will make the whole kind of presentations look more what we call that complete there. But it's not actually a detailed kind of illustration. I just playing around with the shadows, but combining together there actually what we did with the light and shades there. I try to study those light and shade at the same time. Right? Of course, you can use different kind of what we call that. You can use different kind of brushes there to get a different kind of effects there, right? But I'm using soft brushes for the someone who actually have a very zero kind of understanding. It's for beginners there to works more easy. And of course, controlling the flows, it's just the flow will make your job a bit more easier there, I think. But practice, right? To study the shades there first. Don't be afraid to add a bit kind of tone there, but not too dark, right? Add those value, more values on that, right? Adjust basically your what we call that color saturations here. Where okay, I'm using black saturation from there. You can use also swatches, but I didn't use them because I want to give a little bit more kind of spontaneous kind of effect, right? And I can actually study a little bit more further for my own kind of understanding, okay? You can see that, okay? Use a reference, and this picture as my reference there. I did not actually try to attempt to make you guys feel amazed from my demonstration to draw exactly as her face, but just as a part of reference, right? She's actually looked behind what we call it at the below the writing, but I didn't actually draw exactly as that because at the moment when I actually try to draw her face using the reference that I have, is quite difficult for me to see the whole details that I did. But I managed to work with it and also try to add some sort of highlight for the pictures to make it the picture look more alive. Right? Without the highlights, the eyes are going to be a little bit more dead. Right? So that's why illustration, we have to improvise the thing that we saw. Try to develop this kind of more kind of effective kind of presentations, and also a different kind of looks and feels. Okay, the nose when I draw, right, I paint the nose right according to the structure there. I didn't paint the nose hole, nose trailer, right, but I paint the shadows there. Remember that, and use a little bit kind of contrast from here, contrast, and a bit kind of adjust size, highlight a bit there. See? The highlights over here, a bit kind of over here for the eyes, right? And highlights over here, right? To make a bit more appealing there, okay, for the people. Just the highlights also from here. You can see the head, okay? There's a highlight came over here, but not to detail that I want to draw because I can draw those details if I want to, but I don't want that, okay? And there's a few techniques also we can use from here if you want, okay? By using, okay, I didn't actually show those two groups. I'm going to show you guys using lasso tools, okay? But this one is the technique that I use for detail application. So I'm going to use these shapes of shadows there to define a contrast, what we call that elements, a contrast kind of shapes of elements from the head, okay, between the hair and also the, what we call that, the faces there, okay. Very simple kind of techniques there, but it takes a lot of what we call an understanding like what it takes. Okay, basically I'm using the shadows here, copy and paste. You see the hair structures there, just like an anime style there, right? Okay, and I can actually use erasers to erase some of the parts there, right? Okay? To make it more blended there. This one basically don't worry, okay, because in digital operations I did also use a lot of exercise or drawing styles a lot. Okay, the discussion has a lot of issues later on, okay, because I always use this kind of methods that works, okay, to draw the hairline, the stroke, and shadows. Right, just to have a little bit kind of contrast between the shadows for the hair and also the skin tone there, right? So I'm just give you guys a bit kind of introductions on that. All right. So, any questions? No. If you don't have any questions, I assume you guys understand how it works. Okay.
Hi, sir.
It's not that hard, guys, because if you actually, yes. Who is it?
This is Marisa.
Who is that?
This is Marisa.
Okay, no sorry, right? Okay. Welcome to the class there, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So it's not that hard basically if you actually have developed and also have some courage to develop this kind of understanding. All right. So we will go through a lot from this stage there, okay, to tackle the directions of light and shadows there, because I believe a lot of people, okay, a lot of students basically when they come to study a heavy light for their illustrations, they will quite going to have a very careful, hesitate kind of what we call that actions they make, okay? Because they're afraid when you draw someone with this kind of heavy light, they will become someone else, they become like a ghost or this kind of blah 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 kind of what we call that attitude there, okay? The negative kind of effects, okay? Number one, guys, okay? If you want to be good at what you do, you have to experiment, be brave to make mistakes. Do you think I didn't make mistakes right here? There's a lot of mistakes there. But the mistake that I do, right, I can cover them back later on if I want them, okay? But at these times, at this stage, at these moments there, I don't want to emphasize them because the way that I present basically the whole illustrations here is actually is more suitable for you guys to study there. Okay? It's a basics kind of studies there. Right? But I give you guys an advanced kind of methods to work. Because if I actually give you guys only to work with the very simple kind of forms like these shapes that I get to do with the shadows, yes, this is a part of the important things that you have to do first. But there's no point basically you don't actually challenge yourself to work with very complex kind of structures there, like human face. Maybe okay, I have another 2 or 3 kind of pictures that I actually want to choose that for you guys there. Maybe we can draw back again the horses there using the shadows and shapes. Right. So we use a very complex kind of surface or structures or subject matters there to study the shadows. To make sure you can gain more kind of understanding from there. All right, guys. So the thing is right now, what basically the session that I want to show you guys, how actually I'm using a very difficult kind of reference there. I don't say that it's quite difficult there, but I would say the picture that I have is very limited kind of details there, but you can still can use them to study there. That means don't wait for a perfect kind of understand. I want to call that reference or subject matters in front of you. You want to study something there. You can study along the way. Everything that you want to study, you can do it, okay? Right away there, okay? Wait there, okay? So from now on, when you look at someone's faces, any kind of surface that you find there, okay? Study the light and shadows areas. Even though you have like because this is the main kind of studies that will bring a different kind of values for your drawings. Okay, without understand about the light and shadows at the same time. Okay, to organize them, lock them back. The design that you create later on, they're not going to be appealing as you think, because you not actually know the directions of shadows. You don't actually lock the shadows directions when you want to design your characters. Okay, so I believe that you guys have been working on also for other subjects about this exercise therapy. So bring along together. Okay? Maybe if my explanations is quite difficult for you to understand there, right? Okay, maybe some of the lectures have give you guys also this kind of understanding. Hopefully can develop it more kind of understanding and improvement from your result from there. All right, about this lasso tool kind of techniques that are used for add some shadings and shadows. It's not that important, but you can try to work with it, right? You can try to work with it there, because you want to go into more details. Maybe later on when we start to draw characters, then maybe we can start to study with this kind of lasso there. Because these lasso tools, kind of techniques, have made a lot of, they have saved a lot of my time when I actually want to design or paint the hairline or hair kind of shadows there. All right. You just like using those pen tools for adult illustrators. Okay. So any questions so far?
Nope.
Sir.
No. All right. So yes.
This is Marisa speaking. Yeah.
Yes, Marisa, right?
Yeah. I joined around
Okay.
30 minutes ago, around 1 p.m. actually.
Okay.
Yeah, because
That means
sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, I joined around 1 p.m.
But I already record the videos now.
Uh,
Right, Marisa? Don't worry with that.
okay.
Huh? Okay, no worries.
Thank you.
You worried about what? Your attendance?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Worry about attendance, eh?
Yeah.
Only about attendance, right?
No, because
We are about to dismiss there. Okay, we have to dismiss early there.
okay.
All right, it's okay, okay. As long as you came in there, okay, you inform me, okay, you in the class and do the work, okay, there's nothing to be worried, okay.
Okay, thank you, sir.
But the thing that you should be worried is, right, you better do the work there, okay, because the knowledge that you gain from the exercise that you did were really important here, okay. So thank you guys, okay. If you don't have any questions, okay, we can dismiss early, okay, for today, so you guys can have your quick lunch then maybe. I'm also quite hungry right now. All right, thank you very much, guys, okay, for coming, okay. Check the videos, check basically back again those